the standard reports you think you should be looking at will be your profit and loss report. That is probably one of the most important reports, and off of there you can go and look at various other things. So we did look at the profit and loss a little bit in the previous one. It's now got the custom there, so you can see it's come to the custom as default. And as I said, you've got here various different things you can look at. Wherever it's blue, it's hyperlinked. You can click into it for more detail. So you can click into here and you can see a breakdown of those account transactions, of what makes up that number. And then you can click through into the relevant invoices as well if you want to. You can also look at different things within that. So again, you can highly customize it more to get more information, depending on what you want to see on this report. Generally, when I'm looking at this, I just want to see a breakdown of what made up that figure as to what it is. So you've got various different profit and loss reports there. I would personally, at the end of every month, look at the previous month. So right now I'd be looking at what happened in April, because it's beginning of May, so I'd want to know what happened in April. And I'd be looking at these and wondering what's what. Do they look about right? Was I expecting them to be more? Was I expecting them to be less? Does anything stand out to me as a high expense that I wasn't expecting? And then I would drill in deeper to find out what it was. To me, these all look quite reasonable. The advertising is quite high, but then I can't complain. Mine's around that same sort of figure. In fact, mine's more than that. But if I was concerned as to why that was quite high compared to all the other expenses, I would click into it and just remind myself why. This one, it's got here, it's a prototype. We've been doing some bits of marketing there, marketing project, clearly. So that would be what that is for. I'd also be looking at the sales. Is that enough sales that I need for the month? Bearing in mind these are all my costs. So I've got there 13,000 as my gross profit, giving me a total profit of 8,900. Looking at that, I'd then say, right, so because I'm a limited company, I would be looking at the corp tax. So I'd be going, right, 19% of that. And I'm going to get the calculator out to check what that actually is. So 8900. So that's just under 1,700. So that gives me a profit after tax of just over £7,000. Is that enough profit to give me the dividend that I need for the month? Yes, that is. So I'm happy with that. What you can also do is you can put in the percentage of turnover. What this does is this then gives you your margins. So your gross profit margin is 90%, which is really, really good. We'd expect to see those sort of gross profit margins for service-based businesses, and anything between 90 to probably 75, 80 is a really, really good gross profit for service-based businesses. And then moving down, we'd want to look at what the net profit margin is before tax. So this one is just under 60. So as this is a service-based business, that is pretty good. But obviously bearing in mind that you as a director wouldn't be putting in a full market salary, so you will be taking dividends out from that. So is that high enough to give you the dividend level that you want? So I'd be looking at that, and I'd be comparing that month on month as well. So I'd want to know how we're doing month on month. Are we improving? Are we getting worse off? I can see from here, I mean, the data's not the best data because it's just dummy data, but generally we have been improving month on month and the profit has increased. These were some losses, but that's a really good increase on last month. I would also then do a quick month-on-month comparison on costs. So look at what is going up and then drill in deeper to find out what's going on there. Now, the thing that stands out to me pretty quickly here is this has gone up quite a bit, depreciation expense, but I've bought some assets in this previous month, so therefore the depreciation is going to be more. But yeah, I would just look at them and see, okay, that's gone up a little bit. What's gone on there? Probably blow the tyre and had to replace the tyre. So it's all that kind of thing is what you're looking at to see what you're doing. Is it right? Is it not right? Are you happy with it? Is there something that is getting really out of control cost-wise that you need to rein back in? Is somebody spending willy-nilly and needs to be brought in? Are you improving your margins or are they worsening? So this one's improved a little bit. This one's improved. Oops, this one's improved quite a bit. So it's all things like that that I would be looking at as a business owner to understand what's going on in my business. The next thing I would look at is the balance sheet, because I'd want to understand what my liabilities are and what my assets are. So I would change this to end of last month. And I would compare with 2 months. And I can see my asset value has increased. So I've bought more assets, bought some equipment here. And I can see that my bank balance was great at the end of last month, but not so great at the end of this month. But then we have spent a lot more this month. So, swings and roundabouts. And I'd also be looking at what other assets I've got. So age receivables, that's really high compared to last month. I know we've had a lot more sales this month. So yes, potentially we have got a lot more outstanding waiting to pay, but I'd keep an eye on this. And if this keeps increasing and not in line with sales, then I'd be a little bit worried that people are not paying on time. And I'd go investigate a bit further somewhere else. I'd also be looking at the payables, what I owe people, what's in my savings account, and also some other bits and pieces as well. So I've taken out 85,000. Oh no, I haven't. Sorry, I've paid something personally for 85,000. So I need to take some dividends out. This is what my tax balance is looking to be. This is where my VAT roughly is at if everything was paid and received, and everything here. So I'd be looking at this. Then I'd also be looking at this net assets and this total capital reserves. Generally, I would want this to continue to be going up, because that means my business is worth more, it's got more money in it, and it will do year on year because you've got money coming up. But then I've not taken any dividends yet, so potentially they will come down. But it's just looking at, is my business profitable? Is my business in the green, which it is, and is it liquid? So basically, do my assets less my liabilities, is that still a positive figure, which is what we want to see, and it is. So that's really good. Now, some other ones I would want to be looking at are the payables and receivables. So I know you've got this on the front page, but it is also really good to look at this in a little bit more detail. And you can spot trends on here and things as well. So who is overdue? And you can see City Limousines, they're a little bit naughty. They're not paying. And this one's overdue as well. And I'd be very conscious, if that's overdue, that this is going to become overdue. So I would be on at them to make sure they make payment so that this one gets paid as well. And again, I'd be looking at these. What here could go overdue and needs to be kept an eye on. And the ones that are in these brackets, I would be having very serious conversations with and just looking at what's going on and everything. It's really good to see. So these are the current ones, and then these are overdue. So you've got a very small amount of overdue, but there is potential here for these to slip. So it's really good to have a look at that and have a lot more detail on it all together on one report. You can also do the same for your payables, so you can see what you've got to pay out and what's coming up and things like that. And then the rest of it really depends on what you want to see for your business. Those are the ones I would recommend looking at all the time. You put your VAT return there, which obviously you need to do, unfortunately. But the rest of it, I'd recommend coming in and having a look. We're going to go through budget shortly in a separate video, but just go and have a look at some of these reports and see what they're telling you and see if they're interesting, seeing if they're giving you information that you want to know about. The fixed asset reconciliation is a good one to look at. We look at this internally once a month because we want to make sure everything matches up, but at a minimum every quarter or not. What we can see here immediately is there's stuff on the balance sheet that's not on the fixed asset register. So I would then go and have a look at that and find out what's not adding up. So it means the fixed asset register doesn't match what's in the accounts. I would leave that to your accountant or bookkeeper to look at though, because it can get quite complicated trying to do all the adjustments. So if that does come up and it is showing a difference, then I would straight away flag this with your accountant and ask them to look into it for you. Now I know this is because there's been some bits played around with that's not been done properly because it's the demo account. So generally you would find that if you're doing everything from scratch that these should match up. But as I said, if they're not, flag it to your accountant and ask them to look at it. Other reports you may want to look at is what billable expenses have you got outstanding. So make sure that you have actually billed all of those on to your customers. You could look at income expenses by contact. You could look at some of these ones. But again, it depends on what you want to see and why. There's a load of payroll reports there. Some of these you'll need at year end. Some of these, the P32, to go through as and when you are making the payment every month. You can get it from here. You've also got pension reports and leave requests and things like that in here as well. You've got project reports if you're using projects. You've got some reconciliations here. The bank reconciliation is a good one to make sure that your bank is still matching up to your actual bank statements and nothing's gone wrong with the bank feed. So you can come into here at the end of every month. What I would do is grab out your bank account, your bank statement, see what the bank statement is at the end of the month and type in the figure. I'm just going to make something up for the minute because I don't actually know what it is. And it will tell you what it is and if it's out. So the statement balance is, at the end of that month, is 13,933.99. So you would expect that to be the same. So 13. I've just made that figure up, haven't I? 13,933. So this is what you'd expect to see. So you'd expect to see what the balance is in Xero, any outstanding payments and outstanding receipts, anything unreconciled, and you can see it over here. And this will also look at what Xero thinks is coming out of the bank, and then it'll break it all down. If that's not matching up, then it's something that you need to look into. Again, I would recommend you speak to your accountant and ask them to help you with it, because it'll be a case of literally going through line by line to see what's gone wrong. There was an option to delete bank statement lines. I would never ever delete unless you 100% know that it's a duplicate that's come through. And now and again there are duplicates, although I must admit the bank feeds recently have been very, very stable. But again, it is all software, so there is that odd chance of an error, either something being duplicated or something being missed off. And if you delete something, that is going to make it out as well. So don't ever delete without double checking with your accountant. So that's a really good one to do every month, just to make sure that everything is still correct and nothing's gone wrong. You've got your CIS ones there you can look at. You've got other general reports. The VAT reconciliation doesn't work, so don't worry about using that. Now, as an accountant, I use the trial balance quite a lot. It's a really good way to see some balances. So this could be a report that you use to see what your CIS balance is at the end of every year. I'll just make sure you change it to today's date. So in here, you'll be able to see your CIS liability. You'll be able to see what your corp tax was last year, and you can come on and make sure you pay it. What you've got in your director's loan account, so what's owed to you or what you owe to the business. Generally, if it's over this side, you've taken more out than you've got in salary or anything else. So at some point, we're probably going to vote your dividends to cover that and bring it back down. But again, all that kind of thing you can talk through with your accountant to really understand what's going on in your situation. I'm just going through general here. You've also got what's outstanding to HMRC for PAYE and NIC, CIS, VAT, what's outstanding as payroll. This should all add up as you do it, but where we've been playing, it's not. So don't stress about that on here, because it should be when you run the payroll, it puts what's due out in there, that when you make the payments, that comes in and balances it off, and that should be zero. But yeah, it's just where we've been playing, it's not quite right. And you would never normally have director's loan account and drawings. If you're a limited company, we generally change this one to be dividends, and then when we vote the dividend and make it official, we do an adjustment to put it in here. So you should always be putting everything to director's loan account and not that one. So you should never see both of those on there. If it is, it'll be as dividends, and it'll be when your accountant's done your year end. But yeah, we use this as accountants a lot. It probably won't make much sense to you. But if anyone says they need a trial balance report, this is what they're talking about. So yeah, I've gone through the reports that I recommend you look at, but feel free to go through and look at them all, have a play, and just see what they show you. And if it's something that you're interested in seeing and you want to see it more regularly, then just pop a star in it so it's in your favourites and you can keep looking at it.